Good morning to all, Mr. Alagat Sami sir and Mr. Mahaprabhu sir. How can I help you? You have raised your hands. Mr. Mahaprabhu sir and Mr. Alagat Sami sir. How can I help you? You have raised your hands. Yes, Mr. Aditya. How can I help you, sir?
Sir, what is the time limit to upload the video on Google Drive?
Sir, that we can discuss after the conference, sir. Please wait. We'll
Okay,
share
sir.
the we'll share the details in the conference group, sir. WhatsApp group. Please wait. Thank you.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Person you have called is speaking to someone else. You can wait or call again later. நீங்கள் அழைத்திருக்கும் நபர் வேறு ஒருவருடன் பேசிக் கொண்டிருக்கிறார். நீங்கள் காத்திருக்கலாம் அல்லது பின்னர் மீண்டும் அழைக்கலாம். आपने जिस व्यक्ति को कॉल किया है वो अन्य कॉल पर व्यस्त है.
Popular.
Mr. Rajasekhar, sir, good morning. Please
Good
mute your
morning, sir.
mic.
Good morning, sir. Sure, sir. Sure, sir.
Please, please. Thank you, sir. Thanks for understanding. Good morning to all. I welcome wholeheartedly everyone. Please mute your mic and kindly switch off your video. We are beginning to take. Good morning, Nishantani madam. Please, all of you, please mute your mic and kindly close your video. The program is about to start sharply by 10 o'clock. I expect all your cooperation and please extend your full support for the successful conduct of this conference. If you have any queries, please post in the message. We will immediately reply to you.
Connect பண்ணிட்டேன். Save music speaker.
Mr. Kalaimadi, please, you can switch off your video. I request all the participants to please mute your mic and close your video so that we can start the program shortly. Please. Dr. Bala sir, good morning. Please mute your mic. We can start the program now. Miss Evangeline madam, please start. Before that, kindly play the college song. Then we can proceed for the welcome address. Dear participants, good morning to all. It's time to listen to the wonderful college song of the great institution, Ayanadar Janagimal College, Sivagasi in the south part of Tamil Nadu. Good morning once again. Let us listen to the college song, please.
Dr. Mohan, then you can proceed.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Please. Sorry for inconvenience. Happy morning, everyone gathered here. At the outset, I am extremely privileged and thankful to the munificent management of this great institution, that is Ayanadar Janagimal College management as well as the entire management committee, for having granted us permission and motivation to organize this wonderful two-day national conference through virtual mode. I am greatly indebted to our beloved correspondent, sir, Thru G. Abhiruban MBA, for giving us the right guidance and motivation in the right direction in order to increase the perception of the college throughout the nation as well as outside the nation. Thank you so much for granting us the permission to organize this wonderful conference, sir. Next, it is my bounden duty to thank and welcome heartily the captain of this great ship, the entire ship of Anjak, none other than our beloved dynamic principal, Dr. C. Ashok, sir. I extend a hearty welcome to you, sir, for having granted us permission and motivating us to organize such wonderful events throughout the academic year and for the benefit of the student community as well as the staff fraternity. Thank you so much for joining us, sir, in spite of your busy schedule. I'm happy to also announce that today is our sports day, the college sports day. Dear participants, after the session, you can also watch it through the YouTube link. Coming back to the business, once again, I welcome you all. And today, we have a virtual session of starting with Dr. S. Premalada Madam from Reva University, Bangalore. Before that, we have a consortium of colleges that is 5 colleges have come together to organize this wonderful conference. That is, number 1 is Anja College, that is Ayanadar Janayamal College, Sivagasi. Number 2, Sri Ramakrishna College of Arts and Science, Coimbatore. CMC Group of Institutions, Coimbatore. Government Arts and Science College, Thiruvadanai. Government Arts College, Paramakudi. And another person from Coimbatore, Dr. K. Shankar. With all these organizing secretaries, I extend a hearty welcome to all of you who have joined here for this wonderful conference. Next, I would like to welcome all the staff members, faculty members, research scholars of the Department of English UG PG of Anja College, as well as from the consortium colleges, without whom this conference would not have seen the light. Thank you so much for joining us today. Then, without the successful or active participation of all these participants, we have received more than 503 registrations successfully throughout the nation from various states. So, without your cooperation and your participation, this conference would not have been a successful one. So, with all my heart, I record my sincere gratitude and extend a hearty welcome to all the participants who have joined this virtual 2-day national conference. Thank you all. And finally, last but not least, without the consent of these wonderful resource persons, this conference would not have been a successful one. So I take this privilege as the conference organizing secretary. I extend a hearty welcome to all the keynote speakers, especially for the first day session. That is Dr. S. Premanada Madam from Reva University, Bangalore, for having consented to deliver a keynote speaker for this inaugural session. I also welcome heartily Dr. R. Karnambige Madam, Associate Professor and Head from Dr. Ramakrishna College of Arts and Science, Coimbatore. Thanks for joining with this, ma'am. Hearty welcome to you. She has accepted to deliver the felicitation. And I also welcome Dr. Manimegalai Madam, Associate Professor and Head, Government Arts College, Thiruvadanai, who has agreed to deliver the introduction for the conference topic. I also welcome all the senior professors like Dr. Manimegalai Madam, Dr. Shankar Sir, and all the academicians who have gathered here. Thank you so much and hearty welcome to everyone gathered. Thank you so much.
Very good morning, one and all present here. It is a really welcoming gesture of virtual hub, making a virtual hub for convening this 2-day national level virtual conference. On behalf of ANJAC, I would like to extend my gratitude to Sri Ramakrishna College of Arts and Science, Coimbatore, CMC Group Institution, Coimbatore, Government Arts and Science College, Thiruvadurai, Government Arts College, Paramakudi. Really, this is a welcoming gesture among a cluster of colleges which has come forward to share their expertise. This is what expected during this technological world. This welcoming gesture. Once again, I sincerely convey my gratitude to all the group of institutions. Then I also extend my gratitude to all the keynote persons, speakers, for their wonderful help for convening this virtual conference. My dear participants, as you all know, the average Indian age is 29.8. Remember, we have a handful of youngsters in India. When comparing all other countries, just it is for comparison, China has 39.5 average age, US 37, and Japan 49. By seeing this survey, it is noted that we have a handful of youth I would like to insist the a statement given by Vivekananda. He was expecting only 100 youth for making transformation of this nation. But we have huge number of youth, and unless otherwise you upskill yourself, we cannot become a developed country. It is in your hand. I request all the participants, you are supposed to upskill your ability so as to make the nation high. Thank you very much. I once again congratulate Department of English headed by Dr. Muvendan for arranging this kind of virtual hub. Really, it is a welcoming gesture. Thank you, Nanda.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. Madam, please unmute your mic, madam. Mic is still muted. Happy morning, ma'am.
Good morning. Good morning to all the esteemed dignitaries and the participants of this two-day national level virtual conference on extended boundaries in English language and literature. I consider it as a privilege to be a part of this conference, and thank you all for providing me this opportunity. The conference is organized by Ayanadar Janaki Ammal College, Sivakasi, in association with Sri Ramakrishna College of Arts and Science, Coimbatore, Government Arts and Science College, Tiruvadane, Government Arts College, Paramakudi, and CMC Group of Institutions, Coimbatore. This consortium conference is the beginning step of the collaboration of the 5 reputed institutions. At this juncture, on behalf of all the beneficiaries, I would like to congratulate them, the 5 institutions, for introducing an initiative that will pave way for endless exploration in the field of research in the forthcoming years. In the field of higher education, consortiums always create better opportunities for growth and development, especially in the area of research. Expertise is shared here to make us to walk towards excellence. New channels are designed to create strong networks, and the togetherness found here aspires to achieve more. Technology alliance and knowledge sharing, what we get through consortiums, bring in positive impacts for every individual involved. These are the factors which made the great team to think about making this consortium possible, and the result is today's conference. This is an incredible moment, and I wholeheartedly congratulate the organizing secretaries who made it possible. Special appreciations are reserved for Dr. M. Muvendan, Head of the Department of English, Ayanadar Janaki Ammal College, and Dr. K. Shankar, Associate Professor in the Department of English, NGP College of Arts and Science, for taking the first move to introduce the consortium. The idea got shaped in the hands of Dr. A. Ramar, Assistant Professor in the Department of English, Government Arts College, Paramakudi, Dr. B. Balamayuranathan, Associate Professor in the Department of English of Sri Ramakrishna College of Arts and Science, Dr. V. Sabari Raja, Academic Director, CMC Group of Institutions, Coimbatore, and Dr. S. Saravanan, Assistant Professor in the Department of English, Government Arts College, Tiruvadane. Also, Ms. R. Sophia Rani, Assistant Professor in the Department of English, Ayanada College of Arts and Science. This organizing team deserves a great applause and appreciation for its meticulous efforts in organizing this conference. Conducting conferences every year, aiming for funded researchers, combined activities to increase the quality of the research, and owning a standard research journal are the future goals of this consortium, and I wish them great success in all their future endeavors. Dear participants, you have all joined hands with a great team. Cherish the moment, make this day and tomorrow more meaningful and memorable. Enjoy the expert lectures, explore the ideas, and aim for excellence. It is an inspirational beginning, and I wish this consortium to travel many more miles to achieve great heights in research and development in the field of higher education. Thank you all for this wonderful opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you.
A very good morning to you all. Sir, am I audible?
Yes, ma'am. You are loud and clear, madam.
Yeah, a very good morning to you all. I am Dr. Manimekli from Tiruvadane Government Arts and Science College. Before I introduce the topic to the audience, let me thank the organizers for giving me this opportunity and Dr. Karuna Begai in particular for giving a beautiful brief about how the organizers have done it and how much of hard effort they have put into bring this consortium into shape. So, without much ado, let me introduce the topic to the audience. The topic of the seminar is extended boundaries in language and literature. So, let's have a quick look at the word boundary. Is there a boundary? And is it really extending? If at all it is extending, under what circumstances, and what is the relevance, and why should a boundary keep on extending? As we all know, a boundary is a limit. It is a predefined line. So, what is it extending? Why is it extending? In the initial decades of the 20th century in general, and after the World War One and Two in particular, there was a sudden change in the human nature, as Virginia Woolf has put it. This sudden change is reflected in all walks of life. Human nature has changed, and all the defining parameters were challenged, and all the established institutions were questioned, and this reflected in literature and language too. And the rigidity of the genres were questioned, and prose was getting more poetic, and poetic was getting more prosaic, and there was a fusion in everything. There was no clear cut compartment, and there is no absolute. All the absolute values were questioned. Right and wrong were questioned. No moral values, and if at all there was any moral values, it can be challenged. There was no authority as such, and every authority could be questioned, and even the author's authority was questioned, and author was never the authority of the author to convey a meaning to a particular text was challenged. As Nietzsche would put it, the author is dead and we have killed him. We very I mean the readers deliberately killed the author to defy the meaning that the author wanted to convey, and they started creating, recreating, reading the text and rereading the text to bring in their own interpretations, and the results, and this resulted in the confluence of a domain, science and humanities, which were considered as poles apart, were studied in depth to understand the embedded values. Every text, in fact, even a small poetry four lines poetry or a haiku poetry, everything was challenged, and everything was exploding into multiple meanings. Every text which was just seen as a very linear composition was exploding into a complicated web. The authority of the author was questioned, and the meaning the author wanted to convey was questioned, and the set parameters, the disparity, like the center and the other. The center holds everything, and everything else is in the margin. The marginalization was questioned, and people wanted to establish that there is no center. Either there is no center, or there are multiple centers, and the center was moving towards the periphery, and the periphery was moving towards the center. So this is how the boundaries were all extended. Now, the central theme of this consortium is to trace back the trajectory of this boundary and how this has been extended in language and literature. And on a lighter note, very recently I came across a write-up in Facebook. Man invented computer and robo, and now man has to prove that he's not a robo or any automated machine while he's doing a banking transaction. I think now this we can pretty well, understand pretty well how the boundaries are extended. And like the audience, I'm also looking forward to have the keynote speakers and the other veteran scholars who have tremendous academic experience, who would be sharing their thoughts. Once again, I thank the organizers for giving me this opportunity, and thank you, everyone.
Dear participants, kindly wait for 5 minutes. Dr. Premalada Madam, the keynote speaker for the first session, will be joining us shortly. Then we can begin the first session. Thanks for your patience. Let us wait for 5 minutes. Thank you all. Manimele Madam, special thanks to you. Thank you so much for delivering, introducing the topic, Madam. Thank you so much. Thank you.
It's a privilege. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Madam. Thank you. Karnambiya Madam, I'm so thankful to you for facilitating the conference. Thank you, Madam.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Once again, good morning to all. Just make a note of it. This conference, virtual conference, has been planned in such a way that for these 2 days, that is today and tomorrow, we are having only sessions for the keynote speakers. So, right, please understand that those who need presentation certificates, we will share a link, a Google Drive link in our WhatsApp group, that is a registered group, so that you can upload your short video of not more than 5 MB size with the 3 to 4 slides, PPT slides, right, with your name and affiliation to that Google Drive, so that we will process it and we will send a separate certificate mentioning that you have presented a paper in the conference. Those who want to simply participate in the conference, you will be also issued a certificate by tomorrow evening, in a scheduled manner, because we can generate only 60 certificates in a day. So all the participants who attended the conference will be also issued a participation certificate, right? So kindly bear with us. Within a week, you will receive the certificates. And then you can submit your full paper by February 14th, not more than February 14th, sorry, February 15th. before February 15th, you have to upload your full paper, right? So we will process your full paper. We will send the paper to the peer team members, the review committee. They will go through the papers. We may get back to you if you have any, if we have any queries, right? After the review process, after the double blind review, only very few select papers will be selected for publication in the e-journal to be launched shortly. That would take another 2 to 3 months. So kindly bear with this. This publication is totally free of cost, but you have to upload your full paper in the email ID before February 15th, 2025. So once again, I repeat, kindly pay full attention to the virtual conference from today and tomorrow. Those who need presentation certificates need to upload their videos, a short video presentation, not exceeding 5 MB of size, to a Google Drive link which we will share tomorrow evening. So kindly bear with this. Kindly attend the conference fully, right? 2 certificates will be issued separately. One is for participation, another one is for presentation, right? We will process the videos. We will go through the slides, make the slides very short and crisp, talking about your arguments, the main arguments, right? And the main discussions. And then you can talk about the findings, the key research questions and everything. Make it very short. Kindly upload the video in the Google Drive link. We will share it in the WhatsApp group. So for all kinds of updates and queries, make use of the WhatsApp group. We will immediately respond to you. We will immediately get back to you, and all your doubts will be clarified. So I think I have clarified all your doubts. So you need not worry about the presentation right now. Kindly pay full attention to the speakers, right, and get benefited. And one more thing, at the end of the session today evening, we will share a link for the feedback for first day session. And tomorrow also, we will also share an attendance cum feedback link. And with that link, we can issue certificates. So this is a procedure we are following. I expect your full cooperation. Thank you all. We will begin the session of Dr. Premalada Madam shortly. She is about to join. Kindly wait. If you have any queries, kindly post your messages in the WhatsApp group or in the chat box. We will immediately get back to you. Please. We have given 2 links. One is for the Gmeet, another one is for YouTube. We will post the feedback links in both YouTube channel as well as in the Google Meet. Kindly wait for all the sessions to be over. Good morning, Dr. Premalada Madam.
Good morning, sir.
Thanks for joining us, madam. Hearty welcome to you. Thank you so
Thank you,
much.
sir. Thank you. Thank you
As
so
one of
much.
the organizing secretaries, I extend a very hearty welcome to you for sparing your valuable time. And in spite of your busy schedule, you have joined here. I'm extremely thankful to you for enlightening us with your wonderful session. We are eagerly waiting forward to listen to you, ma'am. Thank you so much. Evangeline, madam, I am pleased to introduce the moderator, Ms. Evangeline, Assistant Professor of English from Anja College. She is moderating the session. Madam, please.
Yes, yes.
Thank you, Evangeline. Very good morning to one and all present here. I'm so happy to introduce today's resource person. Some individuals don't just teach, they transform lives, challenge perspectives, and redefine the boundaries of knowledge. Today, we have among us one such distinguished academician, a passionate educator, and an inspiring teacher, Dr. S. Premalata, currently serving as an associate professor at Reva University, Bengaluru. Dr. Premalata brings with her an impressive 21 years of experience in teaching, research, and academic leadership, with a PhD in English, along with an MA, MPhil, and an MSc in psychology. Her areas of expertise span across gender studies, translation studies, Indian writing in English, American and British literature, cultural studies, and Dalit literature. She has contributed significantly to academia with over 40 publications in reputed journals, including Scopus, Web of Science, and UGC CARE listed journals. Beyond teaching and research, Dr. Premalata has played key roles as an IQAC head, BOE and BOS member, and NAC criterion head, shaping academic policies and fostering excellence in higher education. She has been a keynote speaker, conference chairperson, and a much sought after resource person at various national and international platforms. Notably, she has also served as an interpreter for Dr. Perumal Murugan and Baba Chaladurai. Recognized for her dedication, she has been honored with the Best Teacher Award and Best Employer Award at Reva University. Her passion for literature, research, and student empowerment continues to inspire generations. With great admiration and gratitude, let us welcome Dr. Premalata to grace this occasion with her wisdom and insight. Welcome, ma'am.
Mangoவும் வேணும்தான். Mango வேண்டாம்.
Miss Indra, madam, please mute your mic. I request all the participants to mute your mic.
இருக்குமா என்னோட டேபிள்ல தான் இருக்கு.
Conference team, kindly remove those people who doesn't mute their mic.
ஓகே அமௌண்ட் மண்டே கொடுங்க.
Indra, madam. Yes. Sorry, ma'am. Sorry for the interruption. Please
It's fine, sir. It's fine. Yes. Am I audible now to the entire session?
Yes, ma'am. You're loud and clear.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so much. Thanks for the invitation, Dr. Mubendra sir. Thanks to the entire college, Ayan under Janaki ML College, for giving me this session to talk to the people around. I'm in fact very much grateful to Dr. Shankar who has invited me. I think it is 2 months before he has even asked me whether I can give the session here. So I wasn't quite clear what is the topic and everything, but I agreed. That is, as he said that, no, madam, you can. It is just you can speak because this is the expertise of your channels and all that. So I agree to it. So when I started with this session, I in fact had got to a lot of insights what I should exactly speak about. Then I felt that okay, fine, I should talk about something which is quite interesting, where that NEP and all the systems are talking about, because the NEP SDG 4, The education is one system that we have to, because now education is one thing that we need to give more focus on. Because without that, which the entire system will get collapsed, and we are not giving the right kind of education. If that is the case, if we don't give the right kind of curriculum formulations and everything, the system will exactly get collapsed. So this one particular thing is actually made me to give select this topic, because this topic has become the hot topic now. Everybody is discussing about Indian knowledge system. The moment I talk about the Indian knowledge system, I request the entire participants here to be with me on one aspect, that when we talk about the Indian knowledge system, we are not talking about a religion here. We are not talking about any particular aspect or any particular language here. And let us stop connecting language to one particular category of the people. So if you start continuing that language to one set of category of the people, what happens is majorly we will be losing the focus what exactly we need to learn. That is my concern here. So when I have to mention that this particular thing is actually stopping us from moving forward. Knowledge shouldn't be the static is my concern. Knowledge is actually the kind where it should go as a, it should evolve in such a way that it shouldn't be static in certain kind of a period. And knowledge is actually a representative. So if knowledge is not being representative, thereby what happened? We fail as a system. We completely fail as a system if the knowledge is not being representative. When I studied, it is maybe in the period of, that is, if I have to say that Gen X period or whatever it is, according to the people mentioned, it is the social studies or whatever it is, the stories or World War, whatever I studied, that later I found that there are a lot of complexities within that. So then I felt that, is it whatever I read, whatever I did, the education that wrote exams and everything, is it all that goes with some other nullified with certain kind of an aspect? Then what exactly we are doing it then? So that is why maybe in all other universities, I think not only in Bangalore, not only in, it's almost India. So almost all our universities, every time academically, we are changing the syllabus that is required to that present aspect, whatever, it is a present generation that requires. And that is very much important, that academically we need to make it stronger, so that the future, the way forward is very important for our people. So having said all about it, what are the issues and strategies that we need to follow with the Indian knowledge system? Okay, maybe the people, those who are there in the conference, they can say that. Is it any problem?
Mr. Rajasekhar, sir, please mute. Please mute your mic, sir.
Sorry. So whatever the problem, so is it, am I going to speak about the past? No, the past is, I'm not going to speak about the past year, and I'm not going to tell that these are all the things that were existed in the past, and that past we need to, but I'm going to tell that yes, past is something that we need to talk about, and that same past, how are you going to bring it in the present situation is a concern here. Because when I talk about the past, we always say that let the bygones be bygones. So the bygones, let that bygones be the bygones, no issues in that. But certain things, if that bygones is going to help me too, I know it is, because now we are talking about the global warming and everything. Now we are talking about the situation that has been completely changed. When I came to Bangalore, that was again, I think when it was 20 years or 15 years before, because we keep visiting to Bangalore. So I am not new to Tamil Nadu even, because I was born in Pondicherry and brought up in, I was born in Bangalore and brought up in Pondicherry. So I'm married to Tamilian. So I know all different languages. For me, languages to make myself equipped to that particular system. So I don't connect language to the period. I don't connect language to the, in fact, to the region of the people. I don't connect language to that particular places even. So when I come to Bangalore, I make myself completely equipped. I can speak in Kannada to the people over here. So I consider myself the son of the soil. When I go to Tamil Nadu, in fact, I speak in very good Tamil. So there's no problem, in fact. And when I go to Andhra, I can speak in very good Telugu too. So when I go to North India, I can speak in Hindi. So at most, all that when. So even if I go to Kerala, I can speak in Malayalam. So for me, language is just, you need to connect with the people, and you need to connect with the people so that you will understand that entire category and set of the people around us. So this makes me completely equipped when I go to the different places. Yes. Coming to the system here. So when I talk about the past, yes, any other doubt in between? Yes, thank you. So when I talk about the past, what exactly I'm going to talk about? The Indian knowledge system. Why I should talk about the Indian knowledge system? Yes, when I talk about the Indian knowledge system, the people many a times they say that this is not an ancient civilization, it is an young civilization. This is a kind of a rebuttal history, which I don't agree with this. This is not an, it is in fact not an young civilization. We are completely a oldest civilization. So in fact, if we have to mention that Aryans invaded at 1500 BC, and where thereby Rigveda and all has been started, and we got completely civilized with those kind of invasion. I completely disagree with that, because a lot of, it is translation this, with a lot of, even methods or materials, whatever I read, it is actually mentioned that we had a very good system which we have self-contained in everything. Let it be mathematics, let it be astronomy, let it be agriculture, let it be the traditional knowledge that we had, let it be the medicinal values whichever we had. So all that is very completely, totally self-contained. And for that, what I did, I made a complete research of it. So if I have to read Sanskrit for that particular, to get those knowledge, I'm okay with that. I'm okay to read Sanskrit. And again, to make it very specific, I'm not connecting it to any particular set of the people if I take language, because language is nothing else but, according to me, as I told you before, it is an evolving one. When the language is getting very much evolved, knowing and getting to know about the knowledge is not at all a problem to understand certain things. So first thing what I did is, it was actually when I found that it is the oldest civilization, as I had mentioned, everything was self-contained. If you have to mention about the Susutrutha, if you have to mention about the medicine, astronomy, and all other aspects, whatever it is totally a self-contained. Later, what exactly happened? The people, when the Eurocentric missionaries and all other people, it is then the communism where we had started, they were amplifying, that is, that India is only with the Kula Khotra and the problems that has been with. So we were not only that is doing with the Kula Khotra, that is caste again. The caste has come very lately, if I have to mention. The Jati, if we have to take it, Varna was there. I agree to it that Varna system was there. And even in the Kautilya's Arthashastra, Chanakya mentions that this Varna is actually maintained to make that system, to make the system in order, so that we will not be disturbing the people. Each of us will not be complicating the other person's work. This is exactly the Varna system has been. But according to that next generation and evolving generation, what exactly is needed is, we can, certain things we can change it according to our custom of living. There's no problem in it. And let us not talk about the past, which we had mentioned. There was a Varna system, there was a Kula, there was a Kotra. So if we don't understand, if we don't, maybe if we had not researched certain things, one thing which I suggest to people is, try to understand deep to that knowledge, and try to find out what exactly it talks about, before you discarding it totally, that I am taking that particular, maybe the other languages for my progress, modern science and everything. We all know that we had a Nalanda University and the Takshashila University that was there in Sarakutas, which that was Kautilya has mentioned. If you have to see that, Kautilya's Arthashastra, we will, the Sarakutas is no one else but Chandragupta Maurya. Chandragupta Maurya, again, if you look into that, the reign of Chandragupta Maurya, the entire, whatever the economy if you want to talk about, he says that if the person is actually digging the well, we shouldn't collect the tax, and the tax should be minimized because this person is going to feed the entire system now. So the collecting the tax is not amplify the system over here. So that has also been there. Economically collecting the tax. Again, if you are going to talk about being a woman, I will also talk about that feminism. Maybe the Shastras, if you have to take, any other particular period which we have to take, there women were not given prominence. Even being a woman, I can also go and mention about it. I agree to the certain aspect that at that time women were not given, and we were still fighting. The fighting had not stopped. We are still fighting for certain kind of the rights, that to make our progress a little more in a very deeper way. So I in that case, the fighting will never stop. If you have to get rights, fighting will happen from all other aspects. So I don't even it is mentioned that it's everything, whatever is needed, we can filter the information. There's no problem in filtering the information. So the next which I wanted to say, when I talk about that is the slide which I show you. 1 minute. Yes. So this SDG 4, now government in fact has mentioned about that we need to talk about SDG. Why we need to talk about the SDG? Because this sustainable goal is going to help the present generation in a larger aspects first. If I have to mention about it, Kautilya's even Arthashastra, that when Britishers came, it was, as we all know, that it is divide and rule. But it is in Kautilya's, where he has mentioned, it is unite and rule. What he has done when the Alexander, when he has come for the invasion, so he has actually, when he came for the invasion, that time, what happened? So Chandragupta Maurya, he counseled in such a way that you invite the entire people around so that the force will become big, and that force will help us to fight against this Alexander, where they say that they are extremely powerful. So this was also there, which has been mentioned, because divide and rule policy weren't there. We were actually following the unite and rule, and divide and rule has come because of this European colonization, which I meant to say that. And this divide and rule, what happened when Macaulay has come to our land in 1835, he has said that completely scrap that entire system of education that is there in India. Because if only you completely scrap that education, what happens? Because it is culturally bound. When if it is culturally bound, the people are not going to listen to you, even if you invent or even if you give new methods to them. What exactly need to be done? There you have to mention, then you scrap it. Imagine if we are completely short of all the social media, we will not be getting any kind of an information. So if we had allowed you people not to use your mobile for at least 1 week, and you will not be getting any kind of source of information, what you will do, you try to get it from some other resources, right? So this exactly happened to us in 1835 when Macaulay came. And he has mentioned that one bookshelf of Sanskrit, whatever is there, so it is equivalent to the library of one particular shelf of British England's library. So he has just mentioned it is burn everything. So Nalanda, Takshashila University, whatever the books they had, it has been burnt. So we are the scarcity of information now. The information become totally paucity now. So when the information is paucity, so where that people had in fact mentioned that but socialism and all that, they in fact mentioned that now. So the progress of for the progress of nation. So what you need to do, you need to adapt that language, adapting English language, adapting the colonizers' language is ultimately no issues in it. Again, for that larger picture of our benefit, adapting any other language is ultimately no issues, because as I take the translation studies, the first thing what I tell my student is, you love your mother tongue, ultimately no issues in it. Loving your mother tongue, in fact, because if you're not there, if your language is not there, there will not be a culture that you will be speaking about. So the language is very important to show that there were the people who existed. But again, don't criticize any other language. So this is so important. We are not here to criticize others. So when they came, what happened? It has been mentioned during that invasion. They had mentioned that Caldwell, it is John Caldwell, I think. So John Caldwell, he had mentioned that Arya in the sense honorific position. Arya is not that people from different places. Arya is not again, it is any other category which you mentioned. Arya is actually the honorific person. So if you mention, it is there in Mahabharata, there in that is there where they had mentioned this Dusashan is actually did Anarya by disrobing Draupadi over there. It's a dishonored way. So Arya is nothing else but honorific way. So the next one, what I wanted to again rebuttal to it, Dravidian. If he adds it, it is in Sanskrit, it is in Draida, not a Dravidian, because again, I researched this particular aspect. It is a Draida in the sense the southern part of region of the people. So not any other race again. So we need to understand certain things here. So it is not. John Caldwell is actually what he has done. When he has translated, he translated it as a Dravidian, where it mentions about the racial category here. Otherwise, it is only a Draida, where it talks about the southern region, the southern part of the people in that particular aspects. Otherwise, it is not. Aryans are different, Dravidians are different. So for this, again, you can Google it anywhere, wherever it is, if you wanted to. So because without any other research, because the researching is again mentioned by Kautilya's Arthashastra. Anything, whatever you do, it should be researched for the benefit. Otherwise, the word should not come out from your mouth just for the sake of mentioning anything. This is also very particularly mentioned. So when we follow all that, it is, I mentioned that Arya are the Draida. So this particular information has been transferred to you. How it has been transferred to you? It has been mentioned, documented. They said that your books, we are translating it. When we are translating it, it has all been found here. Because options of reading those books have not been given to the major sector of the people. I was only as a listener, listened everything. So what I did, that is a complexities of understanding had happened to me. So I felt that are you people are focusing on the racism, and through the race, are you separating us? So this made the major division to the people around. So the next complexity which I wanted to talk about is we were very much functional with a lot of the system again. So the discovery of Indian knowledge system, because when we are teaching mathematics, we are teaching with the abstract principles. When we are teaching with the abstract principles, what happened? The interest we cannot invoke in the minds of the young ones. So what happened? Automatically, the subject becomes completely boring. So here, actually, it is now there is a lot of sessions and everything is happening with the Vedic mathematics. So the mathematics, it has been calculated along with that Vedic mathematics. That slide which I had shared it to you. So this, I had read it in one of the paper there. It has been mentioned, Indian mathematics and the astronomy, it is not for taking any pictures here. It is to solve the solution, not necessary to take any other pictures, not necessary to go and find out how the planets are placed and everything. For them, it is to solve a solution in particular one. Because even now, we can easily say that if you go to certain period of the people, they will easily mention it to you, what exactly, where that, the planets are fall from, where exactly you can see, and all that is possible. So we are the one who have first found about the pi, which is the irrational numbers. If you have to understand, the people, those who are, well-fledged in the mathematics, they can exactly mention about it. So even Ramanujam even mentioned about it. If you have to calculate the pi, you need that 1 billion of, it is numbers behind it, where for that 1 square notebook is not enough. So we were self-contained in all other aspects if we have to mention about the astronomy. So the next thing which I wanted to focus it on. So what kind of the rebuttal is again happened to us? So many say that we were primitive, uncivilized and primitive sect of the people. When I researched about it during the Vedic period, primitive. Yes, primitive in the sense, even in the European civilization, they were also primitive. They were also uncivilized in certain aspects. Not only with the American Revolution, if we have to talk about, they are the one who was actually, indigenous people. They threw those indigenous people out of their country for that resources of the mineral. We even read about the Red Indians, how they have done it. So everything we are also, when we read about the American literature, we see the complete revolution, what has happened in the American literature, because the expansion of countries, the buying of the countries, the expansion of the countries, they did everything, and they got it from the Portugal, they got it from the Spain. Why expansion of the countries is needed? When there is expansion of the countries are there, what happened economically? You will become completely sound. So when you are economically sound, no other country can actually come in front. That is, no other country can compete with you. So this is one aspect, and that particular aspect is what even the Kautilya Arthashastra, even Chanakya has mentioned about. What the great thing that you need to do, we were the provinces, connect to all the people. So as you connect all the people, what happened? We get to what is know about the people, we can distribute, and even economic system will become totally strong. This is even now Americans are trying with that. So they are totally self-contained. They are not going to listen to anybody. So this, we were also in the same position. We were self-contained, totally self-contained. So when we talk about then, if we are going to talk about, it is only the Shastras that talk about the racism, only the Shastras that talk about the language and everything. And if we going to talk about everything, whatever is there, and because these are all the oral stories that has been passed on to you. For the number, if I have to calculate the people, those who are listening to me, or the people, maybe those who say all that. So I limit their experience of learning even with that 5% of the 10% of whatever the sources that has been available. Because when you mention, again, it is not the WhatsApp forward messages, just like that you forward without even knowing whether the messages are totally authentic or not. So the situation that we are in, any just messages, we keep forwarding it to them without even knowing the source or authenticity of that message. So that particular shouldn't happen, because that it is our mind, what happens, our mind registers whatever is being conveyed. So this particular information, you can get it from the oral stories and the oral narratives. Wherever you go in any places of Tamil Nadu, and whichever that corner of the Tamil Nadu, even if you go, or even if you go to any other places, they have that the regional stories with them. So that regional stories are quite connective to that period of the people, and even they convey that stories. And those stories, what happen, it will actually register into our mind, because our mind register all that oral stories. And that is why when we were growing, even our grandmothers, our mother, and everybody, they used to tell us the stories. And even now, we very well remember about those Crow and the Vada story, and Panchatantra story, and Jataka stories. So all the stories which has been given to us, these stories have the moral in it. The stories that itself has contained a lot of moral in it. So when it is what happened, this messages, when it has been passed on to the people, the oratory skills of the people also matters over there. And we are just going to listen as a layman over there. As you are going to listen as a layman, what is going to happen to you? Your message will get registered into your mind, and you keep those informations very well intact into your mind, and you keep thinking about, these are all the people who have come to suppress me and the oppress me. So that one thing which we need to come out of it. Yes, oppression had happened to us, suppression had happened to us, because if any of the condition, any of the country, any of the situations are going to evolve, there will be one particular people who will be dominant, other people who will be subservient. So this particular system were there. Even now, wherever you go, whichever places you go, even in the academic circles, in the institutions, wherever it is, the hierarchy will always be there, the politics has always been there, and we were all fighting for it, and rather than giving up. So that one thing I wanted to mention here, before you give up mentioning that this information is not going to produce or going to help me in any other way, you try to analyze that whether this information is going to favor me in a very better conditions. So now even many of the kalpas, shastras, whichever we say that, even with the whatever 1,000 times the kalpa and our as European astronomers, what they do, they had even come to the Brahmins of those places, because why I have mentioned about the Brahmins here, the Sanskrit has been that one particular group of people were only reading. And again, as you wanted to mention, that there were the Varna system which has been followed. And according to the Varna system, there were the certain sect of the people who were reading that particular, Shastras and all that. So they were well self-sufficient in giving the information. So this, again, don't take it in the idea of your aspect of suppressing and everything. Now we have got a lot of opportunities where you can get every information in the library, and a lot of translation is being available too. Please get to know about all those details, and so that you know about certain things which has even happened over there, and how people have mentioned that we were totally primitive set of the people here. So when I read a lot of papers around, I read it in such a way where the historicity of certain condition, it is when we talk about Aryabhatta, immediately the people say that it has been copied from the Ptolemy. And when I talk about that it is indigenous people, their knowledge and everything, immediately they say that no, this is because of the Aryan invasion again. And when I talk about that enlightened philosophies, then again immediately that focus comes from different period where that aggressive, it is where the people, we were all inhuman and aggressive, where we were torturing, and that by subversion of identity. So whenever we are going to talk about the oppressor and oppressed, there will be a lot of distortion is going to happen around. So we need to understand certain things which has been there in our system to understand how it has been totally focused. So I don't say that there were no bloody revolution were there. Revolutions were very much there. We even were there in the revolution, but nobody can actually mention that we were the people, those who were actually invaded to the other countries. No. If I have to mention exactly 4,000 million, this I have read it in one more paper again. 4,000 million ago, India was actually suffered with the drought. When it was suffered with the drought, what happened? The people from India, the India what I am talking about is not India that we are. Those time India is actually Afghanistan, Balochistan, Kazakhstan, and all that has been included. Our people have traveled from one place to other place. This is called the migration, not again the forcible migration. This we call it as the displacement. This displacement, please don't connect with the displacement that has happened in Jaffna or with the Tamil Eelam displacement, because this migration happened because 4,000 millions ago there were that it is the record which has been shown is suffered with the drought. If it has been suffered with the drought, even we know that southern part has been majorly the rainfall fed region. When it is completely drought, that survival has become too difficult. And again, if you take that northern part, the glaciers will get frozen, and that will also be a major problem. How we get to find it out? There is again that is a paper. If you want it, I will share it with the committee members if you want to read those papers, because again I've told you, without any other it is authentic source of information, I never mention anything in the public forum over here. So thus I make it as a it is very even if I have to mention, this has been, I'll make it as a right, and I will write it and I will sign and I will give it to the people around. So the 4,000 millions ago, the drought has happened. How this has been found? Because our people have taken that bull, hunk bull, which has been there, horn bulls, which has been there, and that horn bulls they had seen in that places of East Asia and other Central Asias and other places. Why? Because again, these horn bulls are nothing else but these are all drought ridden, or that is, these are all the it is bulls where they can resist to any kind of a drought. And this particular picture has been very much has been there. And when we talk about the imaginary river of Saraswati, it is not an imaginary river of Saraswati. Saraswati river has been there, but not in 1500 BCE, which has been mentioned by the Aryan invasion. It is much more before. And this Saraswati river, which we are talking about, it was flowing in that, again, not that part of India which I am talking about, the India which has been during that period, which I am talking about some 4000 BCE. So that particular, the Saraswati river has been there, and this particular drought might be the reason for it to get disseminated, is what that is the researchers and major people whom they have researched about the Indian knowledge system. They mentioned in many of the papers, and the references also had been given over there. So if those references, if you look for it, I think you will be getting it. And those references, if I have to mention, I forgot to mention it in the PPT, which references what paper exactly, but I can mention the name of the paper and all that. Once it is, maybe if you want to talk to me or if you want to connect to me, maybe I'll mention it later. So this particular one information has been transformed, even that has been there. As you all know, we are full-fledged with the Ayurvedic system. Yes, the totally. Now, majorly you can find it in Kerala and some parts of West Bengal and some parts of Tamil Nadu. Even now, the people are following our kind of an that is Ayurvedic system. And again, if I have to mention about the Ayurvedic system, for 30 or 40 years, we had actually fought for that, to mention the turmeric, the getting that patent of turmeric is not actually, if I have to say that, that is people are wasting their time in doing the research, because there is only one notable thing that we had to mention: the turmeric, this one, that usage of turmeric and the neem leaves, which has been there. If I have to mention, I have even mentioned that Vaisheshika, that is a book called Vaisheshika, and also the book which talks about the agriculture. I have written, and I just read the name of the book over here. So the book where it is mentioned in the mainly, it has been related, or it has been totally dedicated for agriculture. If you have to read, it has been mentioned by the people. It is called Briga Prakivishashta. So if you have to mention that, Krishi Parashra, that is only talks about agriculture. It mentions that this agriculture, whatever they talk about, they mention that if there is any problem, if you find the leaves that has been turned yellow, nothing you need to do. You need to add, that is a turmeric water to it, and so that what happened, the plant life, you can save it. So this is where I, instead of fighting for that rights and everything, I can only mention that this is there in my system very much before you people have even identified it. So when it has been identified, I can easily, because the patent, when it is getting that rights of the patents, instead of fighting it, it is a time wasted in the research. The research is something that where you need to invest your time to do something to the society. The outcome based one should be there. In such cases, I found that not necessary to fight for that rights of that turmeric or for that neem leaves, which has been mentioned over here. So when I talk about the next one, if I go there, 1 minute. This particular one, which I had again read, and that is why I had quoted here, it is about the medical science which we had. Here in that medical science, it has been mentioned here by the Sir William Jones, where he had mentioned it is disorders of the blood, being a translation from the Sanskrit original in 1785, the design of a treatise on the plants of India. So there is a disease which is called the elephantiasis, which government has even given I think a tablet to every other houses. I don't know how many people have taken it, but this particular solution for this elephantiasis is available, and it has been translated by Sir, it is again the William Jones, mentioning that the cure of the elephantiasis, you can find it in that the medicinal plants of India, that is there in 1789 again. So when you talk about the sciences of the Hindus, they said that 35 years in the East, it has been already published over there, where they talk about it. So when I talk about the dissemination of knowledge here, so that as we know about the Silk Route, the trade of the Silk Route, the trade of the Silk Route is a major one I in fact wanted to put that, mention the map over here. But when I mentioned the map, I found that, the virtual that is capture will be more than that mentioning about the details to the people, I felt. So I have not mentioned over here, but it is very much available in all the Google sources. If you look into that, though, it is the Silk Route. When it is during the Silk Route, what happened? It is the people from China, and that it is in fact a Feihen, and Tesing has come to, it is India, it is for the trading and other purposes. What exactly they have done? They have carried, it is large number of the books. It is majorly the many number of the books, in fact, that contain with complete library in that books, in the sense our books have been totally burnt. Imagine, our books have been totally burnt, but our books are there as a translation available in the very different places. Again, you can do the research for this one. 657 sacred texts loaded on 20 horses. So when he had visited Vallabhipura, that is in the Vallabhi, now it is the place of the Saurashtra. The Sarka, it is actually in 640 AD. They had actually taken those books, and that book has been translated, and they are actually, even now they are using it. And that is why we can even mention the spread of Buddhism has been also there, because Ashoka has sent his disciples to the various parts, even to the Sri Lanka and also to the China, for the spread of Buddhism, which we are aware about it. So what I try to mention is, we were not that is the scarcity of knowledge weren't there. We didn't have, when the people mentioned that that knowledge has been provided and we civilized you, maybe the Shakespeare's Ariel and it is Caliban and all that, it is actually, if you have to say, we were not actually cultivated or educated by the colonizers. We were self-contained in certain aspects. But what happened? Appreciating our own knowledge has become too limited in our aspects. Maybe, again, as I told you, words carry a lot of messages, and words has a total strong in disseminating or even converting or even subverting the minds of the people. But I wish to mention that when you are getting to know certain information from the people, please use your knowledge to find out whether the source has been authentic, whether it is coming from the horse's mouth or not. If it is not coming from the horse's mouth, maybe this kind of that it is irrational things is actually disturbing our logical sense of understanding. We need to talk about this. We need to even know about it. So this, again, that next source which I found, that lot of Tibetan scholars, they in fact, it is if I have to, I don't want to read completely, as it has been, it is, you can also read it. The Tibetan sources inform that library was located in a special area called Dharma Kancha, that is a marketplace for knowledge, where a place where one could acquire knowledge without any obstacles. We had a huge library whichever, even if I have to mention, even during the Mughal period, the library was a major source, and many of the Sanskrit books has been translated into Persia. So I should appreciate that invasion of the Mughal period too, because if you read that library science with that library of knowledge, is different types of library, you get that information. They also, it is maintained library. In fact, Akbar used to take as one person, whatever he does, he used to write, that person used to mention everything, and that has been called as Akbar Nama, which has been written. And there also he mentioned about how Indians are very specifically different kind of the plow system, agriculture methods and everything had been used. I'll come to the agriculture later, if I get a time. So this is actually a Greek. When we say that we majorly, whatever we talk about the Thor or Hercules or Achilles and all other characters which we see, even at Troy, if you see all that, any stories you bring it, and all that stories have that connection to our Indian mythology, whereas we don't appreciate our mythology. And we again, that sources, we again connected to that one particular sect of the people. When we talk about a mythology, it talks about dharma, artha, kama, moksha, because all this dharma, artha, kama, moksha, if you follow all this four, what happens? We will never complicate our system over there. The system actually what it will do, that harmonious system will be there. So if I have to mention about Mahabharata, there when we talk about the Kurukshetra and everything, before Kurukshetra, this Arjuna and Duryodhana will go and meet Krishna there. When they go and meet Krishna, Arjuna will be asking, will ask for a lot of Sainikyas and everything. And immediately Krishna says, okay, Tatastu, take it. But, sorry, Duryodhana will ask for the Sainikya, and even he says that, okay, Tatastu, take it. But Arjuna says that, I don't want all Sainikyas there. I want you as my mentor. Then here he says that I'm not going to use my weapons here, and Arjuna says that I don't want you to use the weapon, you direct me what has to be done. Why the direction? Because when you play games, there are the two things which will happen. The players, those who play in the arena, what will happen? Their conscience will not work properly. So that group, that is what we say, that is that individual mind and the group mind will totally, individual crowd and the group crowd is totally different. So when you are playing in that arena, what happens? Your mind doesn't work, or you cannot apply your sense of mind over there. Otherwise, the common sense, what happened? It doesn't, it is work over there. And thereby, the mentor or the coach should be there. That is why we say that the coach is very essential for any other games, because this coach is going to direct you how are you going to lead the games. So this coach in fact will give you all kind of messages, what kind of things, how you need to do, where you need to focus, and everything has been there. So Kurukshetra, it was not happen, it was not won the 18th day of that Mahabharata. This one Kurukshetra won well much before it, when Arjuna selected Krishna as the mentor over there. Again, it is, if I have to talk about Mahabharata, Kurukshetra, through that leadership of Kurukshetra, leadership of Mahabharata to Bhagavata and everything, that takes again 1 hour or 2 hour of session. So I'm not going to focus on to it, but I wanted to tell that there are the people where actually complicate the system. So if we have to progress, we need to open our system of mind, applying. That is why we say that apply your mind wherever it is. Applied psychology helps you apply your mind wherever, whichever a possible way, so that your mind opens a different kind of a set of understanding, and that set of understanding will make the knowledge not as a static, but makes the knowledge as evolving. Knowledge shouldn't be static, knowledge shouldn't be stationary, knowledge should be representative. Understand one particular aspect of it, because if it happens with the layman or the common man, I am okay, fine, it will take little time for them to bring into the system. But if it happens to the academicians, really I feel that okay, if this is happening with the academicians, then progress of that next generation, the way forward, what am I trying to mention it to my generation, how am I going to bring that peace and harmony to my next generation, is very important over here. So if a Clementon of Alexandria is mentioned, that because they perceive the great benefit which is brought by the sages, and that sages themselves were honored, and philosophy cultivated public by all the Brahmins again in India, by all the Odrysians and Getians in the Thrace. So this man has mentioned that the knowledge that happened, it is not because of their knowledge, it is because the people, as I told you, in the 4,000 years of migration which has happened in India, and that migration, the people had actually scattered into different places. That knowledge, not only people scattered, along with people, knowledge even has been transferred, transmitted, transmission of knowledges. So this has happened. If you see in the Kerala and other places, there are the Syrian church will be the Syrian Christian institutions and all that has been there. This is also the detail. See here, this is Severus Sebok. It's again a Greek Persian. This one, he has even mentioned it. See, he is a Syrian. I have kept silent from speaking about the knowledge of the Hindus, because he talks about Greece, where they talk bragging about their knowledge system and everything. The Greeks say that we are that forerunners for entire knowledge system, because as we all know, Socrates, then Aristotle, then the Plato and all that, the canonical set of knowledge which we have read. So when we talk about the Socrates, again, Socrates has not documented much information, but his disciples, Aristotle and Plato, have documented all the information. Again, as a literature one, if you see that Plato's Republic, when you read the Plato's Republic, it much goes with that Arthashastras, even Kautilya's Arthashastra, whatever he has mentioned. So when they talk about finding the solution for the problem, that is Vata, Pitta, Kapha and everything which we say in Ayurveda medicine, they even mention that bile, phlegm and everything. So they even have the different mentioning of those things, and they say that each body differs according to their conditions, and we need to know about the body to identify the solution for that medical reasons, and the diagnosis has to be given after identifying the reasons over there. So here he has mentioned, see, when they were bragging about it, these are not even Syrians, about their careful discoveries of this teaching of astronomy and the methods of speaking of their calculations, which surpass description. But I speak of the 9 characters. These are more skilled than the Greeks and the Babylonians. If some perceive of themselves that they alone have achieved the end of knowledge. So this even, when I was searching, when I was doing the research, this even has appeared to me, that was Severus Seboctus mentioned, because this is there in many of the paper, which you even you can also find it over there. So the next one, if I have to mention, he says here, I will omit all discussion of the science of the Hindus. A people not the same as the Syrians, their subtle discoveries in the science of astronomy, discoveries that are more ingenious than those of the Greeks and the Babylonians. Their computing and that surpasses description. I wish only to say that this computation is done by means of 9 signs. If those who believe because they speak Greek, they have reached the limits of science, should know these things, they would be convinced that there are also others who know something, that others is being connected to Hindus over here. So this is again, it is Hindustanis. This is again, when we talk about it, it has been mentioned over there. We are actually majorly self-sustained. So this is one of the acrobat which I had seen. It has actually come in a lot of the Instagram messages and all that. This one particular acrobat in Egypt, which they found it. This is, in fact, it is called as a crab position, which we can see it in our yogic system, Ardha Purvatasana. So this is Ardha Purvatasana, which has been found there. This is, again, I'm not telling that is, as I told you, the knowledge has been scattered into many places. So I rebut the history mentioning that we were civilized by one sector of the people. We were not having any kind of information. We were the young civilization. We were again, that is invaded by the Aryans. So all this has been rebuted with this information which I shared it to you. So this shows that we are totally a self-contained person over here. So where we can find that all this information where is being, it is disseminated to the large of places. Again, one more information if I have to mention, the Mediterranean Sea, where the major of the people of these Greeks, when they pass by, our Indian traders will be waiting over there. The ship for the large, the sailing and all that, what will happen? That shipwreck and something will happen to their ships, and that case is what they do. They need the timber merchants too. It is to solve the issues of their ships. And our timber merchants will be standing nearby the sea, that is, which we call it as the Arabian Sea over there. And this Arabian Sea, you know that they are the Western Ghats sect of the people. They majorly the Western Ghats, the timber of, it is a teak and other wood which has been available. So what they do when they do the trading there, the Greeks in fact mention, you give the copy of the book, we copy it, and they keep the original and give the copy back to them. So this, again, this knowledge transformation is also available, which has been possible. So that is why many of that, it is The references, if you read the Greek stories and if you read the Greek gods, maybe the theus, it is all that whatever has been mentioned, the representation of Indian mythology will also be there. So having said all this information to you, so mentioned everything about the past. Now, what is the next thing which I wanted to talk to the people around? Why we need to know about the IKS system? What is that Indian knowledge system? How am I going to use? Because now we are all talking about AI, artificial intelligence, and everything. Not only AI, artificial intelligence, and everything. Even there is again, this notice has been given by the it is global warning system. The first warning notice that has appeared in 1992, that is warning to the humanity: if we don't take care of environment, imagine our earth will be in a major danger. So the two notice already has been given to us. So again, we are talking about the global system, the global warming and everything. We are talking about the scarcity of water. In fact, not only it is going to affect in part of Tamil Nadu, even since I live in Bangalore, for the past many years, even I see that the scarcity of water is being here too, because they even mentioned that the water, how it has to be used, a bit too limited in the aspects, because the bore wells, whichever we say, it gets dried automatically. So again, all this, the next, where exactly we need to preserve this? What has to be done for that agriculture? What has to be done for the medicine? How this technology has to be? And again, we need to bring our old system that we sometimes we say that bringing back our antique collections, and that antique collections we say that those kind of antique will never happen, because that kind of that subtle the intricate designs will never appear. So that same way, when we it is actually appreciate the kind of workmanship, we need to appreciate that knowledge that has been totally disregarded by our own custom and system. We need to bring back, maybe this is what SDG 4 talks about, what we need to mention. When we talk about mathematics, we can even introduce the Vedic mathematics to the system to make less complicated for the students to understand. The next one, how are we going to bring in the different kind of, how are we going to bring that balance and that preservation, the resource and everything? As we say that there is a book which I mentioned, Krishi Parashara, it is agriculture. Again, if anybody is interested, I wish to translate certain kind of the books in English, which is not available in English, but it is available in Malayalam. I can say that other books which has been there, there is Vishwa Vallabha, which has been written by Chakrapani Mishra. It is available in Malayalam, but many of the books, it's not available in other languages. I can translate it in Tamil, which is there in Sanskrit. I can translate it in Tamil. If it is to be translated in other languages, I maybe I request anybody can come, and so that we can do it as a very collaborative project, even for that larger picture or the betterment of a society which we are talking about. Because when we start any conference, when we start any other symposium or FDP, whatever it is, outcome based information is very much necessary. Because after giving a session, I should not go back to do my work, and after listening to the session, you should not go back to do your work. There is one concrete, because we have a huge responsibility lying in the hands of our academicians, because at least by transferring the sources and the resources, we can do major, not the major, at least very little changes is possible for our generation, so that that remembrance will be there. At least I have done a squirrel part to that next generation for them to understand whatever it is. So this here Krishi that is Parashara, which is there in agriculture, he has actually mentioned that there is Lokapara for the benefit of the people, that is there in Karnataka, because that soil, there are the different kind of a soil, 4 different types of the soil they mention, and different types of the soil, how they will mention Urvara soil, which is actually fertile soil, Usara, that is a non-fertile soil, this non-fertile soil which will actually use for the pastures and all that, for the grazing. And again, Maru, this is again a desert kind of a soil. 4 types of cloud even been there: Avarta, Samvarta, and Pushkara, and Drona. These are all different types of cloud. By seeing the cloud, that way it is being passed by, our people, what they do, they will even understand not only this one migrated, when the birds, when they see the migration of the birds, even with that migration of the birds, they will observe that what kind of the rainfall will be there during that particular season or the climate. So this kind of informative we were, and that information where it has gone, and now we are struggling to continue our agriculture. We are selling our land and we are giving it to the capitalist society totally. And then finally, what happened? This capitalist usurped everything, and finally we were in total system. Is lack how many different rice and everything were there. It is when I mentioned about the color, as I told you, they say that babru, it is a brownish color, and again color of a soil, it is a krishna, that is a black color, it is plowable again. They say that rohini is a reddish color, any vegetation is possible, which is again majorly available in Karnataka and some parts of Karnataka and some part of this Kerala. So what kind of it is plantations you can do, how you can do the plantations, what kind of the plowing system that you can do. In fact, the Britishers have, when they come here, they mentioned that the Indians have the different kind of a plowing system, different from plows were used in according to the condition, because they were actually using the horses for the plowing system. The heavy horses and heavy metals were used in the plowing system, because when they use the horses, what happens is they need to give 1/3 of the grain to their horses, in fact. But we were using the bulls. When we were using the bulls, what happened? That land, which is whatever the resources that we got, we will be using it. The remaining, that is grass and other thing, we will give it as a fodder to our bulls. So the bull will become self-sufficient, not strong as the horses again. So India's agriculture, they mentioned it, Indians agriculture has become very efficient. So they are self-sufficient in all other aspects. So why there is heavy plow in Europe? So that particular information is again available. If you have to say that is Krishi Parashara, which I mentioned, that Kashyapa Krishutti, that is which has been there, Vriksha Ayurveda, the science of plant life, that has also been there. These are all, again, I read it on my own interest to know about that. When we are talking about the Indian knowledge system, there are the people who will be asking about why Indian knowledge system. We are equipping forward. Why again we are going back? Again, to answer those questions, bring back the old system, use your technology and make the system much more fertile and congenial and harmonious for the people to live, because so that we make our ecospace as a proper greenery ecospace, that ecospace where we can inhale, that is proper air, so that nothing will happen to our next generation, for our generation. Leaving the property is not that what is important. Leaving your ideas, leaving your culture, leaving your major, that is cultivation and heritage that you are followed, and that has to be given to the people, is what is now very much required. So innovation and creativity, that can very much used in the medicine, agriculture and technology. Again, ethical values, which we have to talk about now. The value system has been completely deteriorating. To ameliorate that value system, we should have the social responsibility. Where that social responsibility comes, the social responsibility comes that if hard earned money, and if you work completely in that field, and whatever the grains that you are getting as a harvest, and that is your hard earned labor there, and even wasting anything is actually the kind of the condition that you are disturbing the entire system around. This kind of an ethical values, again, not only this ethical values, there is again the people with lot of contempt, hatred, resent, distrust, and all that has been there, follow with the kind of it is old system which has been it is, if we teach that old system to the people around from the initial level itself, maybe we can bring in the different kind of the system that we and even can't imagine about. There is the Krishi Gita that has been written by Parashurama. This Parashurama is again not that Ramayana or Mahabharata Parashurama which I am talking about. This is a 17th century Parashurama who has actually written agricultural verses. He has mentioned about the Upavana Vinoda, that is in the sense woodland, garden for enjoyment. What kind of the garden that you can follow? Manasalosa, that is in 12th century. They say that, which has been written by Somashweda. He has written about the agriculture that has to be followed. So what kind of an agriculture it has been followed? Because they had even one particular instant, there was a plantain tree. Next to the plantain tree, the pomegranate tree should be there, it seems. So that is what I even seriously have not even, it is practically implemented it. Maybe if I get time, I should implement it practically. So they say that if you plant next to that, it is plantain tree next to that pomegranate tree, that the sufficient water will actually inflow will be there, where it is, you need not worry about the growth of the plantain tree. It actually, it is start on its own, is what he has mentioned. So then they have actually mentioned about not only with the system, body system that is internal and external, even the plant system that is internal and external. So this is very much available in a different, because when you see that there is a crop, what kind of the crop that you can grow according to the field that you find. So this is very much there in that book of agriculture. And maybe the government can take initiative in transferring this information to that, that is the people, those who are farming and all that, so that what happens, they know, they will understand about their soil, they'll understand about their planting, they'll understand about the plowing system and everything. And that case, what happened, that the agricultural land will not again will be taken by that capitalist over here. So there is a dietary shift which has been followed, maintaining the ecosystem, how it has to be followed. So all that has been there. So if we have to mention, in the Gujarat, there is a step well system which we thought, which we mentioned, where they store the water for it, for that longevity of that entire community. Again, if we have to mention, the Chola period is no less to compare here, because the Chola period is a major, the period, in fact, where they had, taken care of agriculture, because when I read Tamil, Adagatti Poradithal Thala de Nelpair entry, Anegatti Poraditha Sola Paramare, they actually, even I studied there, when I studied, and because of being a Telugite again, reading Tamil, and it is well versed in Tamil. In fact, I like it very much, because in fact, all other Tamil, this one and everything, Tamil books and all that, I even have, because I got that Purananuru, Agananuru, all that book of library and everything, even I have. When I watched the movie of Ponniyin Selvan, I directly didn't go to that theater to watch Ponniyin Selvan. I read Ponniyin Selvan properly, and then I found that there are, because when you adapt as a movie, there will be the complicated, complexities will be there to understand it in the movie and everything. So this particular, again, when I mentioned about the Chola period, in fact, that is the great Anaket which we know, again, that Karigala Chola's Anaket, the oldest dam. Even now, the people are even talking about the oldest dam. The irrigation canal system has been very well maintained by the Chola period again. So this kind of issues and strategies, what happen, it should support to way forward, so that it will make a futile, that entire, otherwise if it is not taken way forward, that whatever we speak about, whatever we talk about, this will entirely go nullified there, it will become futile again. Again, the next, if I have to mention, future people, that is for the people, if you are educating them, you can't go and tell them the stories, rather than, because they don't accept the because arguments, and they will always be interested in the why arguments. This because arguments and the why arguments is a major drop that has happened in the laws of Manu, because Manu had a lot of because arguments, whereas when we ask about why arguments, that why arguments is actually the very, very less answers which we can find it in that why argument. So there is one thing which we need to understand about the present generation. You cannot tell them the stories, you cannot feed them with the stories here, because they are actually that is probing ones, they have to probe. So the probing questions is very much important. So you need to give that, not the deep coursework is important, but what happened, the simple steps to solve the solution is very much important. So rather than mentioning about the stories and everything, we need to understand it's not the story stories that takes a major part, because though we understand the oral stories and the oral narratives, there is again, if we have to mention the difference between the oral stories and the difference between the oral narratives will take a major part, because oral stories itself will actually, will stay static again. When we talk about the oral narratives, you can, interpret it, you can reinterpret it, you can revisit it, you can change it, you can modify it, you can do anything, and then you can finally ask that why there is a complexity in all this, why, like Uganda, which has been mentioned by Airavati Karave, why there is a question every time there is a question which has been asked when Bhishma is, warrior himself again, why Bhishma struggled. Bhishma himself is a warrior again. Bhishma struggled because Bhishma has not followed dharma, artha, kama, moksha, which is given to the people. Because if you follow your roles that has been given to you, the purpose of your life, whatever has to be fulfilled, if you follow those purpose of your life, there will not be any complexities, is the understanding of it. So this is my, plea, or this is my even, suggestion to the entire people. The change in the system, if it has to bring in different kind of the change, where the present generation will get insights to learn into the system. So whatever it is, if there is, the entire people, those who are listening to the session, thanks for the people, those who have listened to the session. If there is, the session is open to the questions, if there is any. And if I agree that I have given as answers for whatever is being given to me, the topic or whatever it is being given to me, at certain extents, because again, if I have to talk about, it goes with a lot of maps, it goes with a lot of references, it goes with the books that I have read. So all that, it will take one, it is complete session. Maybe if I get a chance, and if I have to come and meet you people in person, so I think I can share a lot more information other than what I had shared in that, virtual conference here. Thanks for Movendan sir, and thanks for Shankar sir, and thanks for this college, those who have invited me for this session. Sir? Thank
Dear
you so much.
Dear participants, we are now opening the floor for question and answer. If you have any doubts or questions, feel free to ask.
Okay. Good morning, ma'am, and good morning to all. Hello.
Yeah, you're audible. You're audible. I
Yes,
think.
audible. Okay. So first of all, I would like to thank ma'am that she has delivered such a wonderful talk for us, especially on she has talk about the Indian knowledge system, and also she has talk about the leadership. She has little bit talk about the leadership of Kurukshetra and Mahabharata. Especially, really, we have got a lot of information from you, ma'am. So really, from all the participant, I would like to thank you, and especially I would like to thank the organizing committee. That's they have very wonderfully organized this session for the benefit of the researcher scholars as well as the student and teachers too. So actually I don't have any question, ma'am, but related bit actually really I felt to participate, really I felt a lot of happiness, and it's my great opportunity to attend such a wonderful seminar. So thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for your heartfelt feedback, sir. Dear participants, you can also post your questions if you have any. You can post your questions in the chat box.
I can see more have raised hands, but I can't see that this one. Maybe the questions which they have mentioned here. The host can read the questions if it is possible, because it is not reflecting to me here.
Yeah, ma'am, there is one question from Divya Rajeshwaran. Can I read, ma'am?
Yeah. Yes, I can. Divya Rajeshwaran, there are certain books which I can mention. In fact, the people, when you read, if you read Artha Shastra again, that is by Kautila, it is available. There are many, in fact, some 4 to 5 books which has been available. One which has been translated even by the Radhakrishnan Pillai, and even the Krishi Parashara, if you have to mention, that is talks about agriculture. That is available. That is what I said, that the session, even I wanted to start one, that is a translation, the kind of committee and everything. Already I'm doing it with my students. So we had translated, in fact, as the initial one, we have translated certain kind of books, and we are going to launch those. And some of the papers are very much available. If you listen to Ganti, he is actually a bio scientist. Many of his books and many of his talks even talk about the rules of agriculture, which has been there. And our books are even there, ma'am. Even if you talk, if I have to mention about 1 lakh shlokas, which has been there in Mahabharata, it is in fact a self-contained talk about leadership qualities. It is in fact a talk about the agricultural methods and everything which we need to, because during those times, what kind of the plow system and everything that has been used. So when we talk about the economical system now, I even wonder that it is a major, when we talk about the Machiavelli's The Prince, that book, I read that Machiavelli's Prince. When I read the Machiavelli Prince, I could find that many of the related information which I found it in that, even Kautilya's Arthashastra, which had been mentioned even. So how the system has to follow. So there are books which has been available. That Vriksha Ayurveda, if you go to Kerala, you can find the library which has been there. That is, I think, if you go to that nearby the Padmanabhan temple, inside the temple itself, there is a library. So the book itself, because our Indian culture is a majorly, we preserved libraries over there, and our kings, in fact, had actually, it is too much fascinated to follow the library and everything. They, that is, many of the books are the palm scripts and everything documented. Because otherwise we were only following the oral narratives and everything. In fact, we documented very, it is lately, and then those documented palm scripts and everything they preserved it from when the invasion had happened. So that is very much been there. So this initiative, again, I request the government to take the initiative by giving it to the people for the translation, because certain books which is there in the Sanskrit, again, the language which is not, it has been popular among many of the people, and they in fact, it has stopped the reading. And again, I would say that stop the reading. This is one thing that, because knowledge, in fact, I mentioned that when I speak Hindi to northern people, when I go to Kashi or when I go to any other places, I actually speak in Hindi. I don't find any problem in speaking Hindi, because they cannot convert me unless I intend to. So this one system we need to understand. Nobody can change us unless you wish to. Nobody can actually convert you unless you wish to, unless you give the space for them to change. Irrespective of whatever they do, nobody is going to force you anything unless, again, you wish to change, you wish to convert. So this one thing you people need to understand. So learning languages, again, all this, wherever you go, man, whichever places you go, you will find the library over there. You can ask the government libraries, because we rarely visit libraries if we go for a tour or for a trip. So I always suggest, wherever you go, whichever places you go, if you are going to Tanjore, I think you should go visit one. Not only that, all the places around which has been culturally bound, you should also visit the library there. So the museums there, because there the information is very much available. There you can understand about the people. There you can understand about the culture, and that region and culture will help you to understand the system properly. So that one thing we need to understand. So this, I think I had given you answers for your questions, ma'am. In all other places, libraries are there, ma'am. Whichever places you go, you first think, I actually suggest the entire group of the people, please go visit libraries.
Fine, madam. Beautiful explanation given by you. I have a question. May I proceed, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am.
If at all it has become a paper for all of us to learn, what are the unit you would suggest?
I didn't understand your question, ma'am.
If at all, it has become a paper for the Indian students to learn, IKS.
Okay. Mm.
What are all the units you would suggest for the students to learn, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am. So I would actually suggest the first thing is learning mathematics to the concrete method. And the
Mm,
second, which I would tell them is the self-contained information which we had, let it be
mm,
any kind of an aspects that we are aping from the West, we were already self-contained with. And then
mm,
I would actually advise them that value system which they need to know, because again, if I have to mention about leadership management through but is
mm.
the stories and other information
Oh,
which you can again that is learn it from IKS. Because when we talk about a game of chess in India,
mm,
we talk about the game of chess which we have the houses, but if it goes to the Gulf and other that is places, it is actually camel map that is there. And in fact, you can even compare with Vandana Shiva's ecofeminism, which she talks about. It is directly affecting the psyche of the human body, not only human body, affecting the womb of women over there. Because the capital is something which they do, it is not only affecting the system there, because my body is my right, it is affecting my womb, it is affecting my generation over there. So what Vandana Shiva had mentioned, so I will actually compare Vandana Shiva ecofeminism with the Indian knowledge system, where I can mention that agriculture was very much been there, we were self-sufficient, providing food source to everybody else. Now the complexities in agriculture or complexities in mismanaging the system is not necessary to disturb the entire the generation. At one point of time we were all talking about V2 and R2, and now it is later at some point of time it has been limited V2, there should be one. And now it has been, I could see all the IVF hospitals which I had not seen anywhere when I was there during those periods. So this itself is information is very much enough to mention that how complicated the system we had totally deteriorated, and we had completely contaminated the entire system. Whichever places I go, I see in the Bangalore, there are the place from it is my place to university. When I travel, I had seen some IVF, three different IVF hospitals which I had not seen during our period, ma'am. So this itself is now what happens when there are, if there is no, this generation is not going to get affected, economic system automatically will become imbalanced. So they already, the survey shows that in India, the older generations are more than the younger generation. This itself is going to affect the economic system. Your system is going to get completely complicated by this. I will, in fact, suggest that NCRT team or the book, whomsoever it is, please give the ethical values. Please add the system that had been there. Please inform. It is AI is fine. Artificial intelligence is fine. Along with artificial intelligence, add this system so that you know collaborative transdisciplinary research can be done, multidisciplinary research can be done, provide the sources, provide information, and train the trainers so that they train the students.
Good morning, ma'am. This is
Good
Shashank
morning,
Shekhar.
sir.
First of all,
Yes.
I would like to say thank to Dr. Mudendam and especially Dr. Upema, ma'am, for organizing such seminar. And your knowledge is really in depth. I really appreciate how you basically speaking on some different topics, especially when you compare Plato's Republic with Catullus' Arthashastra. Now, there are certain things. My topic of research is basically cultural politics in children's literature, which I find very related when you talk about different things. Especially, ma'am, when there's a PPT slide, where it's mentioned knowledge should be representative. Okay, one thing. And the other thing that is basically one should have the brief knowledge of mythology. Now, my question is basically on based on that. When we talk about mythology, how we can basically propagate the ideas, or how we can basically propagate the ideas to the younger generation. For example, when we talked about cultural identity, you mentioned about Caliban from Shakespeare's Tempest. He himself said that. For example, I remember the line they talked about the colonization. Now the thing is that they basically the Kannada man represented like you killed my mother and imposed your language upon me. That was the point. Now my point is that how we can propagate the cultural knowledge or the mythological knowledge to our generation? Because sometimes this Indian generation, as you mentioned, I'm not saying that you mentioned, but you mentioned that we sometimes feel very less interested in knowing about the mythology. We decimate our culture sometimes. I'm sorry if I'm saying something like different, but how we
Yeah,
can
yeah.
propagate ideas to the younger generation so that they become more curious in understanding the rich culture that we inherit actually. And once again,
Yes.
ma'am, thank you so much for the brief information. Your knowledge is very in depth. Please tell me.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Yes, if to maybe this Movendran sir, do I have a time to give answer for this question, sir? Okay, organizing committee, I just take a little time to give answer for this question. In fact, when we talk about the mythology to the set of students which we are going to teach, maybe the Zen and all this alpha, whatever it is. When I enter the class, the first thing, the moment it comes with, I'm going to talk because we have one a sect of non-detail which we have Uganda, which has been mentioned by Ayurvedic Karave. So Ayurvedic Karave Uganda, when I went to talk about it, there were the different sect of students visiting, not only Indian, but is other sect of the people. The people from different countries will be there. So there, it is not possible for me to explain every all other stories, but I will actually say that is imagine the complicated system. It is starting with the war. You are starting your life with the war. Why that is why any other mythology should start with the war is the first question. Answer yourself why there is a war because the greediness has been very much been there, and the people are not followed the responsibilities that is given to them. And again, anarya has happened somewhere. Injustice had happened in the system. When there is injustice has happened in the system, you need to bring in the system at least by Sama, Veda, Dana, Danda, they say. That is 4 different types of methods that you need to convey to people. Sama, Veda, Dana, Danda, you need to mention. So all other methods I followed, even then they are not budged to whatever they wanted to. Then finally, they had entered into the arena of war. Even when you enter into the war, because they say that enni tunika karmam tuninda pin ennuvadenbadu ilukku. So when you enter into that kind of system, the one thing that you need to do, I had already it has made my mind that what I wanted to do. So you need to do that work now. So again, there shouldn't be any other confusion is what happened with the Bhagavata Purana there. So where he has to mention these all happened because the mistakes have that happened from starting from these many people over there. I will not mention the names of Dronacharya, Kripacharya, and all that. Rather, I will mention that what kind of problem occurred, how they have solved the problem, and why they are in that Kurukshetra war. Why Bhishma even have that is when he says that Devavrata is totally a courageous, bravery, archery, and everything. What is the use of the knowledge when that knowledge is not helping the system to function? So there is that knowledge, and then it is not a representative knowledge. That knowledge is actually the static knowledge. This knowledge is not going to help the society. And this knowledge which you had not used has brought us in the war. So this I had actually mentioned it to my students. If there is a knowledge, the concrete knowledge has to be there. The knowledge shouldn't be that, abstract knowledge shouldn't be there. So what happened with your knowledge? How are you going to transform? Because had he ruled Astinapura, maybe Vedavyasa would not have, it is time to write Mahabharata here. Vedavyasa himself is a, great grandfather of that particular clan. So he mentions that if I mention about this has happened to somebody, the people are not going to listen to me. So that is why Vedavyasa has mentioned this has happened to in my family even. It has happened in my own family. What had happened? My own family, this kind of the complexities happened. And finally, we were in the war. So I actually relate what kind of the system, what is your role, what is your responsibility, what is your purpose. So you do your role, you do your responsibility, do your purpose, and then don't ask any other question further, because once you start the chain will automatically continue by the next generation. I should be the initiator there. When I initiate, automatically I see that many people will stand behind, because if it is we are in the system of the traffic signal, we will be waiting for the traffic too, and it is red should be there, otherwise we keep going. So we have made up our mind and such a way. So I should stop there so that I see others will be stopping there. So when I stop there, it is even I, what is actually, it is with the mirror, I will say that we are stopping now. So the moment everybody will stop there, whether the people, whether anybody is there on the road or nobody is there on the road, you follow the rule so that others will automatically follow the rule. Let the initiative start from us, so that at least the 10 if they followed, and from 10 at least other 20 will be there, from 20 at least another 50 will be there. So this much I can change, one little system is fine for me. So this is how you need to convey. No need to convey that entire clan, this is the Surya Vamsha, this is a Chandra Vamsha and all that, because we need to talk to the people where they have not even, because we have not implemented in the system. We have not implemented in the curriculum about the stories and everything. We made Ramayana in the sense Ravana abducted the Sita, so he fought and he brought her up. But we have not mentioned that you can, Rama in fact has got his leadership, Rama in fact has got his kingdom even with the help of monkeys. We have not mentioned that. He has actually won the war with the help of monkeys. If you want to, win the war, it is enough. Your knowledge, how you are going to mentor them, that much is enough. So with the monkeys, so I'm not bringing the people down here. I'm just mentioning it here. These are all the leadership mentioned. That is qualities that you need to mention to the people. Rama has won the war with the help of monkeys. You can win if you do much more bigger than that. Done. So this information you need to pass it on to the generation so that they will listen to you. Is my, because I have many of my students who will actually, when I go to the classes, they say that it is not going to be a mythological story. It is going to be a listen for them to learn. So I will always tell them there should be a takeaway, whatever you're doing it. If that takeaway, even if 5% is not there, please don't attend the classes. So this will be my, the first thing I will go and give this disclaimer to my students. I hope I have answered your question, sir.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much. Especially when
Thank
you
you.
talked
Thank you
about
so
the
much.
moral insights and the ethical values that we can imbibe in the students. But definitely, I would like to apply something that I've learned from you today. Thank you so much, ma'am, once again. Thank you.
Thank you. Best wishes for your results, sir.
Hello, ma'am. Ma'am.
Yes.
Yeah, ma'am. I have some basic questions, ma'am. Just,
Yes, sir.
just
Yes,
like,
sir.
just you have mentioned, ma'am, that in post-humanism era, there was loss of faith. But, ma'am, in post-modern era, we also see the loss of faith was there. Ma'am, ma'am, I'm a little bit confusing. Okay, ma'am.
Yeah, you said a basic questions, but the question even I couldn't hear. I think there is a lot of disturbances from your
Yeah,
background,
ma'am,
sir.
I'm on the road, so ma'am, let it be. So the question let it be dropped.
Yeah, if
And
I think you can send the questions, you can even,
okay,
just
ma'am.
type and send
Okay,
the question, that would be
okay,
fine.
okay, ma'am. And when the next session will be?
That I think you need to talk to the people, those who are organizing committee.
Sir, the next session will commence at 2:40. So I would like you all to join by 2:40 p.m.
Hello, ma'am.
Thanks.
Yes.
Actually, I have one question, ma'am.
I
Mr.
Hello.
Aditya,
Yeah, go ahead.
can you
Yeah,
just
go
mute
ahead,
your
sir.
mic, please?
Uh, yes, ma'am. Actually, already you have mentioned in your talk that according to the Kautilya, Varnas according about Varna system,
Yes.
Kautilya Varna system as a means of maintaining a social stability,
Yeah.
and he believed that the society where everyone followed their designated role would be more harmonious and prosperity. And other side, you have mentioned about feminism, that are
Mm.
still the still I am the woman and still we are fighting. So
Yes.
how how this Kautilya, this term would be beneficial, or between this actually I'm feeling a huge gap in one thing is that following their designating role, and this feminism in bring a huge gap. So if you are woman, how could be beneficial, how it will be beneficial for the feminism as well as the marginalized people as well as the subalterns? How, just correlate, ma'am.
Yes, sir. It's a very good question, in fact, because there is, the two different polarized ones. So how are you going to take it? From Kautilya's Arthashastra, I am going to take only that filtering the information. So not necessary for me to look into what he has done it to women, why women were suppressed and everything. For me, filtering of information is very important. So I filtered major information which is relevant for the upliftment of the growth of the society. The next question, if I have to talk about the feminism, in fact, if I have to mention about the roles, rights, and everything, it starts from the different periods, sir. Because when we talk about, nobody is going to control me unless, as I have mentioned it already, nobody is going to control me unless I intend to. Nobody, because I don't want the people to talk for me. In fact, I can talk on my behalf as the next one. So this is in fact mentioned by the Samantha Bower in a second sex when the system has been formed. Because when we were actually hunters, during the time of hunters, that we were working together, there were no problem with the system. When we have started with the agriculture, that time what happened, the weapons, that is a plowing system, weapons and all that has been invented, and those weapons were literally heavy to carry. So when it is heavy to carry, it was very much possible for men to plow the field, and for women, actually, that is during that time. Again, if I have to mention biologically, the menstruation cycle and all that will happen. Again, the progeny, reproduction, and everything will happen, and thereby that automatically what happened, they will lose their it is vitality, they will lose their energy. So in such cases, they were not equally compatible to work in the fields. So this is the next one. So when they were not equally compatible to work in the fields, what happened, they have actually confined themselves only with that, the kind of reproduction, the kind of knitting, sewing, and other things. So this is then the 16th century or 14th century, which I need to talk about. Then if I come to the next century, the women, it is if that every time what happened, the feminism, in fact, they say that because when we talk about the three musketeers, if I have to mention, that is that Raja Rao, that is Mulk Raj Anand, or R.K. Narayanan, whomsoever I mentioned about, they even spoke about women, but very little consideration were given to those. And the next, an Indian feminist women were there. They actually mentioned about the problems that they had faced, the meted out by the women that they had faced. If I have to mention about the ninth Rasagal, and if I have to mention about Shashi Deshpande, if I have to mention about Gita Hariharan, Manju Kapur, and all those people, they, Kamala Markandeya, and all those people, they were mentioning about their problems. So the problems there everywhere, whichever book you take, there will be different kind of the polarized information will be there, sir. If I have to talk about the Samantha Power, the second sex, majorly she will actually talk about the misogynist and everything. She will completely condemn that, that is men are the majorly suppressing everyone. So in that case, what happened, the people, those who are masculine, it is masculinity, if I have to talk about, they will take that same book and they will say that it is totally suppressing. We were not like that. It is mentioned by Samantha Power there. So everywhere, whichever book you take, the polarized information will always be there. That is why I'm telling you, when you are progressing, think only about the progress and don't think about what had happened in my past, which is not going to relevant to my present year. Now I can open up, now I can speak, now I can assert my rights, now I can talk, now I can mention my problems, now I can talk about my problems, delete my problems, I can solve my problems on my own. So that is more important. This progress is more important than thinking, than looking at the back, which is not going to be any useful for me. So this one thing which everybody has to think about, because any book you take, polarized information will be there. The laws of Manu, in fact, the polarized information will be there. Laws of Manu, in fact, mentions that don't marry certain kind of women, don't marry this kind of women. So then I need to bring that laws of Manu also be there. Very much complicated. But in the same laws of Manu is mentioned, if the father doesn't have an heir, the property should go to women. Again, this is also there. So which information I should take? That is why I mentioned that filter information for your relevance. So if it is not going to help you, ignore, because the polarized information will be there in every book. If I take the feminist books, which has been written by people, majorly men, the entire sect of the men will be called as a criminalized and all that, because all that men I don't see as a criminals. I have my father, I have my brother, I have my husband. who had helped me to come to this kind of a level. So I should always appreciate men in my circle. So all that men are not to be content. I have a very good people. I have a very good colleagues in my office. So who actually we share the knowledge with dignity. We are actually dealing with the people with dignity. So this is very much there. So step forward is very important. Then thinking about what has happened in feminism, what has happened in the subaltern people. Yes, I agree. There were oppression and we had come out of it, slowly coming out of it. We need to achieve the complete equality for the system to function without any hindrances, without any barriers, without any obstacles. I hope I have
Yes,
answered
yes,
your question.
yes, ma'am. Thank you very much, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much for answering all the questions in detail. Uh, and we have come to the closure of session 1. On behalf of everyone here, I would like to extend my heartfelt gratitude to Dr. S. Premalata for sharing her valuable insights and expertise with us today. Your presentation was informative, engaging, and truly enriching, ma'am. Thank you for your time and inspiration. So this is an important reminder about the upcoming session this afternoon, as we have an exciting session lined up for you with Dr. Ritu Sharma, Assistant Professor, Faculty of Humanities, Shraddha University, Uzbekistan, who has a PhD in English from Central University of Tamil Nadu, is looking to impart knowledge and share experience in the field and skill of language theory, discourse, and communication from the local to a global horizon, while exploring intriguing similarities throughout. Her other areas of interest are vernacular literature, magical realism, postmodernism, and contemporary theory. Kindly join us as we explore magical realistic fiction challenge in decentering the ism. We look forward to seeing you all there. Please join us by 2:40 p.m. Our session will commence promptly at 3 p.m. Thank you, participants. Kindly join us on time. Thank you all.
Thank you
Thank you.
all. Thank you for this. Thank you for giving this opportunity to share my ideas with everyone around. If I didn't answer for certain questions due to some other technical glitches, you can even post this question and then send it to me through organizing committee. I hope I will answer all those answers. All those, I hope I will answer all their questions. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Dear participants, please join us by 2:40 p.m. as the session will commence promptly at 3 p.m. Thank you all. The feedback form will be shared after the end of session 2.